it today. Today is the day, 2025 is the day that I am finally doing things that I keep putting off doing. Welcome back to the homestead and my kitchen. If you're new here, my name is Lynn. Welcome. I have a lot of new subscribers, so I thought I'd just take a quick second to introduce myself a little bit. As I said, my name is Lynn. We live in Eastern Ontario, Canada. I am married to my husband David for almost 32 years, high school sweethearts. We have two children, Grace, who is 21, and Aiden, who is almost 18. He is actually graduating high school this year. That just blows my mind. And both of our children are neurodivergent. Grace has autism, Aiden has Tourette syndrome, and my husband is in the military. He did 30 years full-time military service, many tours overseas, including 3 to Afghanistan. He is now semi-retired from the military, and he is in the reserves. He still works for the most part full-time, Monday through Friday, except for roughly 2 months out of the year where he has to go part-time or he loses his pension. It's a sore spot with us, but that's the rule here. And his part-time is actually coming up in February and March. We actually look forward to those 2 months because it gives him more time to get some things done that we need to get done around here. I am originally from Maine in the United States. My husband's originally from New Brunswick. Military has sent us here. I am a 4-time cancer survivor, and our homestead kind of came out of my first battle. When I was going through chemo, David and I made a bucket list, but it wasn't things that we would do if I got better. It was when I was better. And on the top of the list was we finally wanted to buy our own home. We had lived in military housing for 20 years at that point, and we'd had enough. And we were able to save for our down payment, and we bought this place almost 11 years ago. I wanted enough property to have some apple trees and a huge garden and chickens and grow more, hopefully more food if we would like. And I wanted room for the kids to be able to play. A lot has changed over the last 11 years out here. Our area has gotten very desirable, and because we're only roughly 10 minutes from town, so we're still country, but not too far away from everything. In 2020, everybody started realizing they could work from home, so they all started moving here. It's gotten very noisy. It's getting more difficult to do some of the things here. We are hoping to move back down east soon. And yeah, I think that's about all you need to know about me. Other than I love canning, I love crocheting, I love crafting, I love gardening, I love baking. I love all things that go with being a stay-at-home mom and wife. I love it. I never thought that was what I was supposed to love, but now that I've turned 50, I realized I'm going to just embrace what I love to do, and it may not be very popular in 2025, but I love being a homemaker. Okay, so today is our next video in the Canuary series, and we are going to be making something I've wanted to make for a long time, and this is my first time doing this, so hopefully this isn't a miss. I love pea soup, particularly habitat pea soup. When my mother visits us from Florida, she actually requests to make sure I have several cans of this. It's actually, that's why we have some right now, because she bought some when she was here last fall and didn't eat it all. It's the one I grew up with, other than my grandmother. My grandmother Tracy made the best homemade pea soup, and this recipe sounds very much like hers. And it's a recipe from Bernadine, which is Ball. Bernadine is just their version, their company here in Canada, which apparently they're no longer going to be. They're going to be all Ball. But it is, I should say, yeah, it's a recipe from Bernadine plus Grammy's. So I'm kind of going to combine it. Bernadine, I'm using their canning directions and quite a few of their ingredients because they're pretty much the same. But the Habitat has so much sodium. I have high blood pressure, a little leftover gift from chemotherapy. It is controlled with medication, but I still do my best to watch my sodium intake. And the sodium in this, for 1 cup, is, I'm trying to find it, 800 milligrams. That's a lot of sodium. So that's one of the reasons, and the price of it has gotten insane. It can be over $3 a can now. Never saw that before. Never saw Habitat pea soup be that expensive before. I have a leftover ham bone. Fine, I'm going to do it today. Today is the day, 2025 is the day that I am finally doing things that I keep putting off doing, and making homemade pea soup is one of them. So we're gonna head over to the stove and get all the ingredients into a pot. I already have my yellow split peas here in my pot. It's about 3 cups worth of split peas. To that, I'm going to add our ham bone, and I made sure we left enough ham on it the other night so we can have some ham, pieces of ham in there afterwards. I have 1.5 cups of carrots, 1 cup of onion, 2 teaspoons maybe of thyme, and 1 very tiny bay leaf. I am definitely getting low on bay leaves. Bay is actually something I'm going to try and grow in my herb garden this year. That's probably another thing you should know about me. My favorite things to grow are herbs. I have quite a large herb garden, and I'm hoping to expand it. And then we're going to add 8 cups of water for now. And I'm actually going to add 2 more cups. 2 more cups. And we might add more later. It just depends on how thick you want the pea soup. I'm just going to give it a stir. We're going to put the lid on this, and we're going to simmer this for 3 hours. Okay, it has been 3 hours, and I am just going to take my immersion blender, and I don't want it completely blended because I don't mind having like whole peas in my pea soup, but I am just going to blend it up. I also took the ham bone out, took off all the ham that I could off of it, and put it back in here. I just did that off camera. I didn't think you really needed to see me strip a ham bone. So I would like these carrots just a little bit more blended. And that's pretty good. There's still some chunks in there. Now, the one thing I am going to do, I'm going to taste this a little bit and see. I haven't added salt yet because I'm not, ham is pretty salty. So we're going to see if it's fine or if I need to add a little bit more. I have my jars all ready. They've been heated up. Oh, that is yummy. Oh, that is really good. I don't think it needs any more salt. I think we're just gonna go with that. So, okay, over to the island to start canning up our jars. First, I have to apologize. I realized the wash machine was running right behind my camera while I was over there talking about the soup, so hopefully you still were able to hear. I have 6 wide mouth jars. The recipe is not very helpful. It just says yield depending on how much soup you make. So I have 6 for now, just because I don't feel like hauling out both my canners. If it ends up being more than 6, I'll run a batch through, let it depressurize and everything, and then I'll heat up the soup again and do another batch, or I'll haul out the other canner. I haven't decided yet. Anyway, I will be using my 4 jar lids, which have been all washed up. And if you use my code BucketListHomestead, you can get 10% off anything on the website, not just the lids and rings, but also the vacuum sealer, the vacuum bag sealer, all kinds of things on there. Their towels, I love their towels. Their towels are so amazing. I have one hanging off my stove right now. So we're going to can these up, and I believe we need 1 inch headspace, and I think it's 75 minutes for, yes, 75 minutes for pint jars. my other canner out and just get it all done. The soup is still hot. There's no sense making more work for myself, heating it up again. Just to wait, because it's going to take a couple hours for everything to come up to temperature, you know, process for the 75 minutes and then cool down. So I got out the second one. I have a second one, Lynn, use it. But I realized I've showed you a lot on the electric pressure canner. The one thing I forgot to mention is it has a seal here. Let's see if I can pull this off so you can see that. Just like your traditional canners, you should always double check those too, just like you would your traditional pressure canners. Make sure there's no tears, make sure they're in good condition. I do have a couple extra of these that I have on hand, just in case. You know, I don't want to have to be waiting if I'm right in the middle of a canning project and then realize my seal's not in that great a shape. But everything looks really good. I've been using this, like I said, almost 3 years. One I've been using for 3 years. The second one I didn't get until a year after. So one's only 2 years old and I don't know which one it is at this point. But it looks good. I haven't had to worry about changing them yet, but you definitely should check. Make sure your valves are cleaned out. There's a little valve on top of here. Right here. You should still make sure that's good in working order, just like you would your regular pressure canner. So we're going to get these going. That one's already going. The first one's going. So I got 8 pint jars of soup from that. That's amazing. I mean, leftover ham bone, and the peas weren't very expensive. I think they were only a couple of dollars, and I bought them a while ago. So, and I already had some carrots in the fridge that needed to be used up. I had onions from my pantry, from my garden last year that are still in amazing condition. Yay me, they have been holding up amazing. I have already had the bay leaf. I mean, I already had everything. So I think for what it cost me to make 8 jars of soup, I could only have bought 1 can of the Habitat. So not too bad for the budget either. Okay, let's get these going. 8 pints of pea soup out of the pressure canners. We'll let these sit here for a minimum of 12 hours. And I realize I've talked a lot about what to do after they've sat, but I haven't really shown you what to do. So I will see you back here tomorrow. For you, it's just gonna be a second, but it's actually gonna be several hours. And I'll show you what we do after these have sat for a minimum of 12 hours. So we'll see you tomorrow. So it has been roughly 18 hours, and we are gonna check the seals on the jars of our pea soup we canned yesterday, wipe them down, mark them, and get them on our pantry shelves. First, we take off all the rings. You should never store your canned jars with your lids on, because these could unseal, and the pressure just from having the ring on could reseal them, and oh, you do not want to yeah, eat anything like that, because oh, it's not good. Not good at all. Okay, we definitely are going to have to wipe these down a bit. Truthfully, I wiped them down a little bit before I put them in the canner, but 1 or 2 I think got by me, and they were a little messy, a couple of them going into the canner. Okay, so now we're going to check the seals. Jar 1. Sealed. Now we have to wipe these all down, especially this one. This one's a little crusty. Since some of these jars are pretty crusty, I'm just going to put a little bit of hot water in my sink with just a little bit of soap. Okay. A cloth, and we are just going to wipe these all down. Rinse, set to dry, and that is it. Okay, 7 more to do. going to label them, and I always put the year. There we go. Homemade pea soup that has been on my to-can list for much too long, checked off. Great start to 2025. Until then, friends, take care, God bless, and we'll see you all soon.